Yo, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today is January 12th. When you'll be watching this, it'll be God damn, today is January 12th. When you'll be watching this, it'll be January 13th. And I know it seemed like I've been kind of ignoring what's been going on in the world, guys. And, I can't really ignore it any longer, guys. I can't really ignore it any longer. I'm not on X. I'm not on any of the apps. I'm on YouTube, guys. It is flooding my YouTube, guys. So I think this is important that we talk about it. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not avoid the tough conversations, guys. We seen what happened with the lady in Minnesota. We seen what Elon's doing. We seen what what's going on in Iran. Guys, did you hear what's going on in Iran? You know what? The problem is, the reason I don't talk about it much is because I don't think I'm as educated on this topic as I should be, guys. And it's embarrassing. I don't think I'm as educated on these foreign policy subjects to be able to speak on it. And it's embarrassing, guys, but I want to speak on it because I'm seeing the shit just like you guys. You know what I mean? I'm seeing this shit go down. I'm seeing Iran get fucking. They talking about they ain't got no power. And this shit going on over there. They government out of control. We seen what happened with Venezuela. You know what I mean? Well, we gonna sit here and keep watching body cams? We can. I mean, I'm down, but like, we gotta still. I mean. That'll just be walking with our head down. If we're being honest, we just walking with our head down. But we really look up and we see what's going on. This shit look like World War III going on. If we being real, if we just keeping it real, guys, it looked like World War III is going on. So, I mean, the least we can do is pay attention, right? Even if we don't know everything that's going on. The problem is, when I read into it, I just don't know who to trust, guys. And so I don't want to be so quick to formulate opinions or be so quick to say stuff because I don't know who to trust. Like, they say things just to the public, right? And then they say things to themselves. And then it's up to us to either fall for the shit that they saying or take it as truth or try to read behind it and see what's really going on. And I just don't have the energy to read behind it, guys. So I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm gonna just take my brainwashing like a man, and I'm just gonna take it like a man. I got to. I'm a victim. I can't sit here and try to figure out what's really going on, guys. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what's really going on. I'm keeping it real. Iran getting fucked up. So we're gonna watch a video and we're gonna hear from some people who claim to know what's going on, guys. That's what we're gonna do. Right here, this video is like these updates are dropping like hotcakes, guys. That's why I think it's serious this time. Every second, every day, we get an update on this shit because this shit is actively going on right now. Full remarks: NATO's top general warns Russia, China, and Iran and NK. I don't know what NK is. Are ganging up on the West. Let's see.
Sense of urgency. And that sense of urgency is essential. When I look around the globe, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and others are
NK is North Korea, guys? No.
Are increasing their collaboration and their cooperation as their interests align against us. We see this clearly in Ukraine. While President Trump pushes for a peaceful resolution to a horrible war, China continues to fund Putin's war machine. Iran continues to supply technology and weapons. And North Korean combat troops remain in Russia on Ukraine's border. And of course, there's a confluence between Russia, Iran, and Venezuela and their dark fleet of oil tankers that is helping to fund the war. In the Arctic and the high north, we see a similar trend. Russian and Chinese vessels are conducting more and more joint patrols. Chinese icebreakers and research vessels are in Arctic waters. and their research is not for peaceful purposes. It's to gain a military advantage. Russia, meanwhile, continues testing advanced capabilities in the Barents Sea. As new shipping routes emerge and new resources are discovered, the Arctic only grows in strategic importance. And all of this comes in the midst of an increasing hybrid threat: airspace violations, GPS and GNSS interference, and the shadow fleet in the Baltic Sea threatening underwater infrastructure. In short, the Arctic, and Northern Europe by extension, has become a front line for strategic competition.
Okay, guys. So what I just got from that is that all the bad guys that are pushed, all the bad guys that are pushed on us, so we think is the bad guys, North Korea, China, Russia, those are the big bad guys. They're all teaming up, guys, and they're trying to team up against us and take some positions in the Arctic. So, Arctic Ocean on map. We're going to figure this shit out, guys. We're going to really figure this shit out. Okay. Okay, wait. We need a better... Let's look at this. Where's the Arctic Ocean? Okay, guys. So it seems like they're trying to get up here. They're trying to get up here, guys, so they can get I don't know, it's a vantage point on us over here.
Within NATO, Allied Command Operations, the command that SACEUR oversees, has taken steps to strengthen our deterrent posture, much of which is oriented in that northern region, here. Just over a year ago, we established Baltic Sentry, an activity to protect that critical underwater infrastructure. In this past fall, we developed Eastern Sentry to increase our agility and further integrate our air and missile defenses on the eastern flank.
Okay, while he's talking all that Call of Duty shit, a thought just came to my mind. And see, this is why it's hard to focus, because this is what's going on behind the scenes. Kind of in front, but also kind of behind. Because what's also going on in the front is Trump is dealing with this war, right? But then he's also subpoenaing Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, who basically prints the money and sets the interest rates and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And he's also saying he's banning institutional home buyers, trying to lower home prices and allow first-time home buyers an easier way into the market. He's capping off credit card interest rates, and he's doing all these, things that people should cheer for on the front end, or making all these front-end promises, which kind of feels like a distraction, if we're being honest, right? It kind of feels like a distraction. Okay, let's keep the Americans not worried about the war, right? Let's keep the citizens not worried about the war, and let's tell them, hey, we're gonna get interest rates back low. We're gonna get home prices. We're gonna allow people into the market with getting home prices and whatever. You guys understand what I'm saying? And then we're also gonna cap off credit card interest rates. We're gonna stop institutional home buyers from buying, and all these supposedly great things. And then behind the scenes, which is really technically not behind the scenes because the shit is popping up every single day, you got this guy over here talking about, guys, Russia, North Korea, and China, they're fucking on their way right now to where Greenland is, right? They're on their way right now to go take that shit. And if, we don't take it, we're fucked. You know what I mean? And it's kind of it's bittersweet, because it's you don't want to just run through Greenland and kidnap the president of Greenland or whatever and take over Greenland. But then you also don't want the ops to take over Greenland. And then we needed that, we needed that. We could.
More recently, in just the past month, we've realigned the boundaries of our joint commands, and now Joint Force Command Norfolk brings together NATO's activities in the Arctic under one command, allowing us to better defend all allies in Europe, in the Arctic, and the strategic approaches to North America.
Yeah, where's our allies? Where's our allies, guys? Where's our allies? Why does it kind of feel like we're in this fight alone? Are you guys feeling like that? If you're in America right now, are you guys feeling like we're kind of in this fight alone? You know, everybody's kind of stepping. Where's our allies? Where's our friends? You know what I mean?
Allies are also working together closely on Arctic issues. At a recent Arctic Chief of Defense conference, we agreed to increase our understanding of activity in the Arctic, to enhance our domain awareness, and to increase our own activities and exercises in the High North. In short, military cooperation in this region has never been stronger. Moving forward, we intend to expand our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities, to improve our infrastructure and logistics for military mobility, and to strengthen our presence with Arctic-capable forces, many of those forces here in Sweden. With 7 of 8 Arctic nations inside the alliance, the other one being Russia, we will and we can get this right. Now, what's Sweden's role? As our newest ally, Sweden is instrumental.
Nice. Okay, so now we're talking about allies. I love Sweden. My grandfather's Swedish. I've been to Sweden plenty of times, so I like Sweden. Good for Sweden joining us.
2 years in, and you have already demonstrated exceptional commitment. You're the framework nation for our forward land forces in Finland. You're filling staff roles throughout my command, especially in critical positions at Joint Force Command in Norfolk and our Training and Assistance Command for Ukraine. You've contributed capabilities for operations and our vigilance activities across the entire European continent. You're a model for societal resilience. And Sweden is among the top supporters of Ukraine through the prioritized Ukraine requirements list, the Pearl, and a number of other venues. In short, Sweden is setting an example for all of us, and I truly appreciate your leadership. Now, as you're aware, transforming for the future and strengthening deterrence takes resources, a lot of resources. But while the Defense Investment Pledge at the Hague Summit in 2025 was historic, money alone is not a deterrent. We need the equipment, the weapons, and the munitions to start showing up in our allied military inventories. And this is where Sweden really stands apart. You have an incredibly strong industrial base, and there are steps that we can use across the alliance to learn from your experience. As governments remove barriers to work with defense firms, you're doing that here in Sweden, and we can learn from you. As you build transatlantic partnerships or pan-European partnerships or global partnerships with other like-minded nations, we can learn from you. And as you create opportunities for co-production and co-development, we can learn from Sweden.
Okay, so what I'm getting from that, guys, this is kind of like foreign policy for dummies here, because we all don't really know, or at the very least, I don't really know what the fuck is going on. I'm just interpreting from what I understand here is Sweden has made a commitment to work with us. That's good news. All right, look, guys, if you guys hate Trump, I get it. I understand. You know, you got the right to feel however you feel about the guy, right? He's not the best person on the planet, all right? But so long as we're here, we don't want to die, okay? We don't want to go out bad. We don't want to get crushed up by these other countries. If I'm keeping it real, we don't want to get crushed up by these other countries. Yeah, we may want a nicer, we may want a kinder president, or, you know, however you guys may feel. At the same time, we don't want to be weak, you know. We don't want to just get beat up, you know. So it's a good thing that Sweden is willing to help us here in this time of need. And so from what I understand is that, yeah, they're willing to give us money, but money alone is not all that's going to be needed. We need them to start accepting some of our military equipment in their bases so that we can start preparing for defense. If I understand correctly, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. If you know more about me Don't be afraid to let me know down in the comment sections what the hell is going on.
Sweden's industrial base is already doing these things and demonstrating that it can deliver. Yesterday, I heard the phrase "made with Sweden" in stark contrast to the other phrase that you might have chosen, a more protectionist phrase of "made in Sweden." This is fantastic. All allies would benefit from adopting this mentality, as a rising tide lifts all boats.
Because, guys, at the same time, we have to still remember, guys, North Korea, come on, guys. Let's be real. If anybody's teaming up with North Korea, they have to be the bad guys. They have to be worse than us. They have to be worse than us, guys. Just think about that. If anybody's teaming up with North Korea, they have to be worse than us, guys. They have to be the bad guys. So let's keep that in mind. North Korea you can't even leave that country. If you're born there, you can't leave. You can't leave. If you leave, they put your family in prison for generations, guys. You can't leave.
So in conclusion, everything I'm seeing from Sweden, the collaboration, the modernization efforts, the defense investments, the health of your defense industry, frankly, I think someone gave you all a checklist for being a model ally, and you just went down and started checking it off. So it's a real privilege to be here today with you today with a model ally who's doing so much for the alliance, and I truly look forward to your questions.
If I got to be honest, though, he does look kind of worried. He looks kind of worried, guys. He looks kind of uneasy. He's not exuberating confidence. You know what I mean? Am I using that word right? Is he not exuberating confidence, guys? You know what I mean.
Thank you. As you said, the Arctic region is of growing strategic importance. Would you say that there is an immediate threat to NATO territory right now?
I don't think there's an immediate threat to NATO territory right now. One of the reasons is, there's a couple of reasons. First, Russia is committed in Ukraine. The vast majority of their forces are dedicated to that effort. Their war economy is dedicated to that effort. And that's one of the reasons that we owe so much to Ukraine as they stand on the front lines of European defense. Russia also is aware of the incredible power of the alliance. And we have deterred the alliance from conventional attack for 76 years and will continue to do so in the future because of the strength that we have, the strength that is there today that will be even better tomorrow and even better the day after that. Russia knows that it cannot afford to take us on.
That's the confidence. That's what I want to hear from this guy. Who is this guy? What is this guy's name? I like him. Top General. We're going to call him Top. I like Top. Top Greenwich.
We've heard a lot lately about activity from Chinese or Russian vessels close to NATO territories. Would you say that it's not a reason to really see this as an immediate threat today?
Well, it will grow into more and more of a threat. So as I mentioned, as the ice recedes and there's more and more access up there, we certainly see Russia and China working together. We have had Chinese vessels patrolling with Russia, not only on the north coast of Russia, but also north of Alaska and near Canada. And like I mentioned in my remarks, it's not for peaceful purposes. They're not studying the seals and the polar bears. They're out there doing bathymetric surveys and trying to figure out how they can counter NATO capabilities on and under the sea. So that's something that could grow very quickly, and we need to be mindful of it and ready for it.
This might be a tricky question, but I think you understand that there is an uncertainty if the U.S. national strategy, along with the recent statements from President Trump, has changed anything when it comes to NATO priorities.
Well, I won't comment on the political dimensions of recent rhetoric. It's not my place to do that as a military.
Oh, come on, dude. Are you kidding? Come on. See, this is what I mean. I'm gonna let him finish. But she's basically, you got to think of her as like, she's like Sweden right now, and he's like America right now. And Sweden is telling him like, hey, you know, Trump's kind of basically saying like, he kind of doesn't give a fuck about us. You know what I mean? Is that true? And he's over there like, you know, we're not going to really talk about that. But, you know, thank you for your help. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Officer. But I will just observe the readout from the North Atlantic Council, where all of our permanent representatives from the 32 nations get together to discuss thorny issues. Those dialogues continue in Brussels. They've been healthy dialogues from what I've heard. And I think that's the most important thing. Members of the alliance who've worked together for so many years are talking together and working through these thorny issues.
You had this role for about 6 months now. Has your priorities in any way changed?
Is it only 6 months?
Oh, I'm sorry
kidding.
you feel that way.
No. It's actually been truly a fantastic 6 months. One of the best jobs that exists on the planet, in my view, and I've truly enjoyed it. My priorities have been pretty consistent. I've got several of them. One of course, I'm focused on taking care of our people, your people, that you contribute to the alliance and to.
So, guys, if you made this far into the video, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're learning every day. We're learning something new every single day. So you guys want to hang out here. We're on the road to 100 subs. At 100 subs, we're going to do a $50 giveaway. So make sure you hit the sub button. Guys, so what he's saying is basically don't ignore Trump, right? Trump is going to be Trump at the end of the day. You know, he's going to say shit. He's going to say shit. And a lot of the shit that he says, it doesn't hold any weight. What's really going on is the U.S. and the people who've been representing the NATO for the past however many years are still working together. We're still in conversations. We're still talking about this stuff. And what Trump is saying over there is pure politics, guys. Let's ignore that and let's really talk about our core alliance is still true. Have you guys ever watched Survivor? Right? So it's kind of like Survivor, right? One guy's over there, he's paranoid, he's talking too much, he's over here talking over there, doing this, doing that over there. And then so everybody come over to this side, everybody and you got to kind of keep the alliance level-headed. Hey guys, when we go to tribal, let's stick to the vote, okay? I know he's going wild, but let's stick to the vote here. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what's going on, I believe.
Our missions, they are the bread and butter of what we do every single day. And Michael Clausen and I actually got an opportunity to go see some of the Swedish troops yesterday. Swedish Marines who, some of the most impressive young women and men that I've seen in uniform throughout my almost 33 years of service. So you all ought to be incredibly proud of what those young people are doing for your country and for the alliance. So we need to take care of them. We need to focus on them, get them the equipment and the capabilities that they need. My second focus is warfighting readiness. The alliance is ready to fight tonight, but we need to continue to hone our readiness and be more and more ready every single day. That's headquarters readiness, making sure we have the processes and capabilities in place to do the things we need to do. It's also individual unit level readiness. Michael's focused on that here in Sweden. All of the chiefs of defense are, and I am as well. And it's by being ready that we continue to maintain that deterrence.
Speaking about equipment, you also said that we need the material, and it's time to start for them to show up. I mean, the demand is enormous all over Europe. How much a challenge is that the military material needed won't be delivered, so to speak, in time?
Yeah, it's a significant challenge, and as I go around, I try to highlight ways that I think we can meet that challenge and we can rise to it. The first is the money does have to be there. It is a prerequisite to send a signal to industry to make the investments they need to increase production capacity. So that is a prerequisite, and I don't want to belittle it. It's incredibly important. But for the first time in the alliance, money's now not the problem. The problem is capacity. So as we think about our investments at the national level, using the 1.5% to bolster organic defense capabilities could be one option. As I mentioned, Sweden's a great example of being able to build a defense industrial base that works across Europe and across the Atlantic, and with defense industry in friendly countries like Japan and South Korea, the broader West, if you will. And that kind of resiliency in our supply chains and our resiliency as we work together, I think, benefits all of us.
So we got Japan and South Korea on our team as well. That's good to hear. It's good to hear that we got some people on our team, guys. Some important countries. I mean, South Korea, they're solid. South Korea is solid, guys. Japan is also solid. Who doesn't love Japanese people, right? We all love Japan. We love Swedish. We love the Swedish. So this is good to hear. This is good to hear. But what I'm hearing kind of behind that is that there are some challenges getting some of our equipment over to these areas. I mean, we can't just fly it over there, right? We can't just fly over equipment, right? Because guess what? These other countries may try to shoot us down or some shit like that. That's what I'm thinking. You know, or we can't just send a ship going across the ocean, you know, because another country might try to take that or seize that ship, or, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking there. So he's kind of like, you know, it is some challenges getting these defense things set up. You know, it's not really the money. It's just, you know, we got to figure out how we can get it in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that's the way I'm kind of taking this.
One last question on this subject. The war in Ukraine has clearly shown the necessity of flexibility when it comes to military capabilities. On the same time, your own capability targets works with, I think, 4-year cycles and then maybe decades to implement them. How big a challenge is that today?
Yeah, it is a challenge. There's a couple of things that we think about. First, you're exactly right. Ukraine is showing that we need a pace of innovation on the battlefield. So when we talk about capabilities, here's one that I'm trying to get my mind around, and the great thinkers in here can probably help us. One of our capabilities needs to be adaptability. So we need to build programs that are able to adapt and modify and innovate over time, just as the Ukrainians have built. So think about how to build that in to what we're doing. With regard to the NATO capability targets, this is the shopping list that the Supreme Allied Commander for Transformation and then my position work together to give nations so that we have a coherent set of capabilities across the 32 countries. Those capability targets do come on a 4-year cycle, but as an example, we'll say we need Sweden to provide a mechanized brigade. What Sweden then needs to do is think about, what does a mechanized brigade mean in 2026? It's probably not what it meant in 2016 or 2006. And so you have the flexibility within those capability targets to think about the composition of those and the technology that you apply to those capability targets. And we'll help you think through that along with our fellow military leaders across the Alliance.
Thank you so much, General Grenkovich, for attending here today.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So what I got from that last little segment is we got to just basically, I mean, our allies, when we say, you know, we need you to do something, we need you to do it up to today's standard, not to the standard that it was decades or years ago, because times are changing and we need you to be adaptive. We need you to adapt to times, okay? So when we say we need you to do this fence, let's just say it's a fence, we need you to do this barbed wire fence. We don't want you to put up a barbed wire fence from 2015. We want a 2026 barbed wire fence. We want a 2026 barbed wire fence. We need barbed wire all on the chain link, not just at the top. We need it all on the chain link. We need no one to be able to touch this fence. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm getting. We're over here talking foreign policy and politics and shit for dummies. You know, because we don't know. We don't know. We did not even think that we would have to deal with this in our lifetime, but apparently we do. So we're kind of learning as we go. As this shit comes in, as this information comes in, we're trying to decipher and to break it down to a level where we can all understand, guys. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. Let me know what you think is going on here. And we're gonna stay updated with this, because we cannot afford to go to sleep and miss a day of what's going on out here in the world, because this shit is getting wild, guys. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Shout out to everybody who turned notifications on. I really appreciate the love. Shout out to everybody that's ganging down in the comments. We're on the road to 100 subs. Once we get to 100 subs, we're giving back another $50, guys. I appreciate the love. We out.